because the Minister of Planning is always listening carefully. Because, ladies and gentlemen, he brooks no, anyway, he takes no prisoners. Because, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, he does his job with laser-like focus. Welcome to the lectern, the Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister, Minister in the Office of the Attorney General, the Member of Parliament for Port of Spain North, St. Anne's West, the Honorable Stuart Young.
One love, one love.
Political leader, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley, members of the head table, deputy political leaders, my cabinet colleagues, PNM family, all other protocols observed. With an introduction like that, I better live up to the cause tonight. Citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, I'm here tonight to speak to you about the very careful, meticulous, and complete work that has been going on out of the Office of the Attorney General over the last 24 months. I am not here tonight to do the proverbial busing of a mark, enter into bacchanal, or small talk. I am here tonight to tell you, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, the civic-minded persons in Trinidad and Tobago, and the opposition of Trinidad and Tobago, what is the work that has been going on for the last 24 months out of the Office of the Attorney General. Now, this work has been twofold, because the first thing we have to do is protect Trinidad and Tobago, and to protect the treasury of Trinidad and Tobago that was under attack for the last period of 2010 to 2015. And the second set of work we've been doing assiduously and meticulously, very carefully, and it has never been done before in Trinidad and Tobago by any government, is the work we've been doing with white-collar crime and corruption. I'd just like to explain once again what the government is in control of. The government is not in control of the police service and is not in control of the Director of Public Prosecutions constitutionally. So we can't control criminal work and criminal charges in Trinidad and Tobago. But we didn't sit back and hold our hands up in the air. What we did is we went to the civil courts of Trinidad and Tobago, and also, as you will hear, the courts of England, the courts in the United States in both Miami and New York, to protect you, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. And just before I launch into the work that we've done and my reporting to you, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, I put down a marker here tonight, my fellow citizens and my PNM family. Going forward from this point on, listen very carefully to who makes the most noise in and out of Parliament. The people who make the most noise and who oppose things like the Revenue Authority, oppose the Attorney General's follow the money, oppose the Attorney General's new legislation that's going to be coming to explain your wealth. Ask yourselves, citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, why? Ask yourselves why there are opposition members in the Parliament who are protesting loudest and making the most noise when we come very quietly, very efficiently, and very effectively to protect you, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. I'd like to start with a company called SIS. You all remember SIS? People say PNM has done nothing. Well, let me tell you very quietly, because we don't go and boast about it. When we came in, there was something called the Beetham wastewater plant that the then leader of the opposition, and thank God our now Prime Minister, raised in the Parliament when we were in opposition. You remember that? Yeah. Within a few weeks of us coming into office, SIS decided they wanted to try and get out of that project. Well, let me tell you what we found. Over $1 billion of our tax-paying money, cash, paid to SIS for a worthless, useless Betham wastewater plant. What did we do? We immediately took him to arbitration. But further than that, do you all recall on the 23rd of December 2015, 2 days before Christmas, out of the Office of the Attorney General, we led a charge and we went and froze $180 million of SIS's assets? Right. That was step one. What you, the country, don't know is quietly, with a best-in-class international team of forensic auditors, investigators, and lawyers from both England and the United States, we went quietly and we investigated NGC and a company called PSAEL. And you know what we found? I'll read it. This is from one of the reports I have, and we're going to take action. 14 projects with a combined value of $274 million, each governed by a memorandum of agreement, were transferred from the NGC to PSAL. Documentation received from PSAL's finance unit suggests that PSAL invoiced NGC for $217 million. Let me tell you this scheme. They were bleeding the dividends from NGC. Remember we said $16 billion? But they were also taking out in expenses from NGC to build recreational facilities allegedly all over the country. They thought we weren't doing anything about it. Trinidad and Tobago, I tell you tonight, we have done the work and we will be going after them. Now hear this one. NGC paid $219.3 million to PSAL for this work. 8 projects, listen to this very carefully, 8 projects valued at approximately $173 million were awarded to 6 companies, all wholly owned by Super Holdings Limited, a company owned by Terence and Lincoln Lala, Krishna Lala's sons. Let me tell you the scheme that SIS had engaged in. They set up companies all over, not called SIS, gave the contracts to it. People, I stand here tonight to tell you this government will go after them for all of that money and all of those projects. That was their modus operandi. I will tell you in a short while about what they did at EFCL and 5 contractors that you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, the God-fearing, tax-paying people of Trinidad and Tobago, have gone after at EMBD. So that's what we did with SIS. That work is continuing. There's a lot afoot. And whenever it goes, we will come and tell you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, what we've done to protect you and to fight white-collar crime. OAS, you remember OAS? OAS is a Brazilian firm that has been put into bankruptcy and judicial management in Brazil. They have locked up the executives of OAS and a whole set of people in Brazil. The former government decided to give OAS a contract to extend the highway to Point Fortin. You remember that? And when we were in opposition, we asked, why don't you take loans? Why don't you take low-interest loans to pay for the highway? What did they do? $5 billion of your tax-paying money, cash again, paid to OAS and others. What did they do on the 4th of September 2015, the Friday before the general election on the Monday? You know what they did? Under the directorship of the then Minister of Works and Transport, Rambachan, they went and compromised our right as citizens of Trinidad and Tobago to terminate SIS. They entered into a contract called Contract Addendum Number 2 and gave away the right to terminate them even though OAS bankrupt in Brazil. That is the easiest way to terminate a contractor when they bankrupt. And that government, led by Kamala Prasad Bisesa, under Suraj Rambachan as the Minister of Works and Transport, on the Friday before elections in September 2017, compromised our rights as citizens of Trinidad and Tobago and put us into very expensive arbitration but we will fight it. And out of the Office of the Attorney General, we're managing it, and we're going to fight it. You know what we did? There were standby letters of credit issued by international banks. We called on it. I have to sit down in Parliament on a Friday and listen to them on the other side saying, we protected Trinidad and Tobago by having standby letters of credits and bonds. They did not. We had to go to the High Court in England, the commercial court. We fought them there. We fought them in the High Court of London, in the Court of Appeal in London, and we went all the way up to the Supreme Court of London to protect you, the taxpayers of Trinidad and Tobago. Fought them all the way and recovered $1 billion for Trinidad and Tobago. EFCL, Education Facilities Company Limited. You remember that we found people in a secret room at EFCL back room producing documents and tender documents? We've done the work there. It is very, very complex and very, very complicated. But let me tell you, we found, and I'm going to name the contractors in a short while, certain contractors in Trinidad and Tobago went again and set up a number of other companies when they looked as though it was competitive bidding and tendering. You know what we found? The same contractor had 4 companies owned by these same contractors out of 5 bidding. It is bid rigging. It was cartel behavior. It was corruption and collusion. This government is going after that as well. And very shortly, out of the Office of the Attorney General, we will report to you the action that we intend to commence in the High Court for some of that. I'm going to tell you about HDC now. HDC. 2 contractors at HDC under Rudal Munilal, the then housing minister. 2 contractors, one made $1 billion, paid, this is not contracts awarded, he paid them, one of them, $1 billion. Mutilal Ramhit and Sons. And then he paid TN Ramnat over $1 billion during that 5-year period. $1.3 billion. And you know what? They did not do the work they were supposed to have done. We are going after that as well. You remember someone called Jerlene John? You remember how close Jerlene was with Munilal? This is the action that we filed on your behalf for something called Eden Gardens. And we filed it over a year ago, very quietly. We went to court out of the Office of the Attorney General, filed the action, and we began to follow the money. For the first time in Trinidad and Tobago, using the civil courts, the government has been following the money. That deal was that they asked the HDC to pay $175 million for a piece of land that an independent valuator valued at under $60 million. Seems to be a lot of gravy, and it was followed, and we have been following the money. And you know what we found? A check for $50,000 paid to a public servant by the persons who were selling the land to HDC. A public servant working in the Commissioner of Valuations office, who is the person that valued the land at the $180 million so they could buy it at $175, when an independent valuator said no, it's worth $50 to $60 million. This government, under that Prime Minister, that Attorney General, and the Office of the Attorney General, followed the money for you, Trinidad and Tobago, found that, and we filed an amended statement of claim in June of this year. I've served it, and we are going after them for your money. Now, you know who had to take that to cabinet to have it approved? Who was the Minister of Housing at the time that took that transaction that cost us, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, tens of millions of dollars to cabinet? Right. Who's been making a set of noise and calling press conference and talking about fake documents? Right. I assure you, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago here tonight, without fear of contradiction, every single action that has been filed and is being pursued on your behalf is backed up by documentary evidence and forensic evidence, the likes that this country has never seen before. You remember live sport? Live sport was busted wide in Parliament by the then Minister of National Security, Gary Griffith, and the then Minister of Finance, Larry Hawaii, under Kamala Prasad Bissessa. You remember that? And the Express expose busting it wide open for us, the people in Trinidad and Tobago. What did Kamala do about it? Let me tell you what she did. They got the Central Audit Committee out of the Ministry of Finance to do an investigation. And we have found the document saying from that Central Audit Committee, do not go with the reporters yet. It is premature. We need more time. What did Kamala do? She forced Hawaii to bring the document to the public. This is all they did. Half-baked, all the work not done. And it was then successfully challenged in court. You remember that? They tried to fool us, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, to say they went after live sport. They did nothing. In fact, the only work that was being done, thankfully by the public servants out of the Central Audit Committee, Kamala Prasad Bissessa and Larry Hawaii, compromised that report and sabotaged that report. And we, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, had to lose that case in court. Fear not. You voted in a PNM government in September 2015. Immediately, very quietly, very efficiently, very meticulously, we set about to work. And we sat down with the thousands of documents. In April of this year, on the 3rd of April 2017, on your behalf and the future generations' behalf, we filed a claim against 13 defendants, the former directors of the Sport Company of Trinidad and Tobago. Very quietly, this claim is in court now, and we're pursuing them for what they did with live sport to recover the money for you. We didn't stop there. Remember they had a man who called a press conference in the Hyatt, and he said, what's $36, $34 million? That's a jiggle in the piggy bank. A jiggle in the piggy bank is how he insulted us, the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Well, let me tell you all something. He go jiggle on this. On the 2nd of June 2017, on your behalf, we are pursuing eBeam Interact Limited, a company that was incorporated by the former Sports Minister Anil Roberts' family, and we're finding the links through forensic work. We're going after the jiggle in the piggy bank for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And I can tell you here today, without fear of contradiction, the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service is also going after the jiggle in the piggy bank and the other areas of live sport. But we have no control over that, nor do we interfere with it. But we, at the government, on your behalf, have done the work, found the documents, we've done the forensic work, we're following the money, and we're pursuing them in the civil courts of Trinidad and Tobago. Now, you remember a few weeks ago, I told you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, the work done out of the Office of the Attorney General in a company called EMBD, Estate Management and Business Company Limited. Who was the minister at the time in charge of this when hundreds of millions of dollars were spent? You know what we've gone after? You know what he spent $400 million on? And he managed a few weeks before the general election to get over $200 million paid off for 10 contracts. They were traces. Carony lands, they were traces. $400 million in 10 contracts distributed beforehand, decided in cartel behavior, corruption and bid rigging amongst 5 contractors. Remember I told you about HDC and a few of them, EFCL and a few of them? TN Ramnath, Mutilal Ramhit, Fides, Calco, and Namalco. Those are the 5 contractors who in these 10 contracts distributed it amongst themselves, decided how they were going to spend $400 million. And you know what? The minister then took a note to cabinet and they said FCB would give them a short-term loan for $400 million to pay contractors that at that time were owed close to $1 billion. They didn't pay any of that to the contractors who were owed money. They instead gave it to these 5 contractors. And I stand here without fear of contradiction tonight to tell the people of Trinidad and Tobago, we are going after that. And we are not going to allow it. 3 of those contractors, 4 of them actually, sued the EMBD. Because understand, in the last 24 months, very quietly, we have been working with an international team of forensic auditors and investigators and attorneys. We had to build a case. So PNM family, citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, your patience with your government is going to pay dividends. When everybody said, what PNM doing? All you're doing nothing about corruption. You're fighting corruption. It was very, very difficult to stay quiet. But we stayed quiet and we took body blows for it. But I can stand here tonight in front of you, Trinidad and Tobago, and our international partners who are looking on, because the rest of the world is looking at Trinidad and Tobago and this government, I'll tell you that, and how we're dealing with corruption. And we are getting commendations all over the world. So let us be patriotic here in Trinidad and Tobago. Stand with your government. Support your government, because your government is working for you in the fight against corruption. Not only for you, but for the future generations of Trinidad and Tobago. 4 of these contractors sued EMBD. One of them had the gall to sue EMBD for $1.3 billion. And now putting out full-page ads in the newspaper, every newspaper, back and front and all kind of how. But let me tell you the truth. We fought that case hard to make sure that they did not get the payments that they're seeking, hundreds of millions of dollars in interim payments, because we knew the work that was going on in the back room. We knew they following the money. We knew what we had found. And people of Trinidad and Tobago, the work that was done there is incredible work, and we are proud to be associated with it. Let me tell you one example. We went through every single tender document and compared every price, everything that they did. You know how they bid rigged? Them 5 contractors, paint. Paint is paint is paint. It's the same paint if you're painting so or you're painting so. Let me tell you, the cost of the paint is $35 to $40 a meter. That's the proper cost of paint. If you and I go to paint, the contractor who won contract 1 put it for $35 to $40 a meter. And all of the other 4 put it at $400 and $500 and $600 a meter. How they explaining that? And you know what? I then lined it up with the bid that they won. And the bid that they won, they use the same $35 to $40 a meter. But in the other bids, in an unexplainable manner, where they lost, is $400, $500, and $600, $800 a meter. Let them go in the courthouse and explain that. Now, you would have heard the same Rudal Munilal talk about how the Attorney General and I sit down and we type up text messages. Let me tell you all something. It was no interception. It is forensic work that was done on the phone owned by you, the taxpayers of Trinidad and Tobago, because the then CEO had a company-issued phone, which when we suspended him, we took and we forensically examined, and we found the text messages and the SMS messages and the other messages between him, Munilal, and the contractors. So the document you see Munilal holding up and waving, schedule number 8 to the claim, yes, it is a typed up document because it is not the evidence in the claim. It is explaining to the court and explaining to everyone, this is what is found. But I guarantee you, every citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, that we have done forensic work And we have the evidence to support the claim. And we have found the linkages. We have found where comments were made, bring this check for me, pay this contractor 10 million, bring the check to me, I will give it to them, etc. And I've seen it outside of Parliament. Outside of Parliament. I do not need to hide in Parliament behind parliamentary privilege to tell the truth and to talk about the type of work that the Office of the Attorney General has done on behalf of every citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. So we're fighting Namalco, we're fighting Ramhit, we're fighting Calco, we're fighting Fides, and we're fighting TN Ramnath. And we have filed the claims against all of them. And I heard him on last week telling us in Parliament, he ain't get served yet. He ain't get served yet. Citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, I stand here tonight in front of all of you and give you the assurance he shall be served soon. And he can go in the courthouse and make all the noise he wants, because I guarantee you, this is the best work that has ever been done by our government in a court. If you see the traces they built, another thing we have proved, because we've gone along the roadways and we've tested it. So where they're supposed to give us this amount of pitch, because remember it's traces, $400 million in traces in Caroni lands. They're supposed to give us this amount of pitch. We got that amount. You know what the contractors also did? They set up other companies as labs, because the contract said you had to test the pitch and it had to pass the lab test. And I'm telling you all here tonight, 2 or 3 of those contractors used their own companies to do the lab test. And of course it failed. I'm saying it outside of Parliament, because it is the truth what I tell you here tonight. This type of forensic analysis and work has never been done before by a government, and this government is going to pursue white-collar crime, and we're going to try to stamp hard on corruption, but we need your support. So when they attack and when they come at us, I'm looking forward to your support, because you have my commitment and you have the government's commitment. There's some other work that we've done very quietly, very efficiently, and I am guaranteeing you very effectively. CLF. Since 2009, we the taxpayers went into CLF to bail out a private company. Since 2009. When this government came in, UNC had it for 5 years and 3 months and did nothing. The Minister of Planning talked about that former governor of Central Bank that thank God we got rid of. He was there for a period of that time and did nothing, but has the audacity to stand up yesterday in Parliament and criticize this government for the effective work that we did on your behalf. The shareholders did not sign an agreement. We had over 17 to 19 billion dollars of taxpayers' monies exposed. They refused to give security over this money. This is a private company that we, the taxpayers, bailed out. We had not a single piece of paper protecting you. So what did we do? We went to court and we fought hard and we got liquidators appointed. And have no fear, the liquidators we found are the best in class in the world. These are the same liquidators doing the Stanford litigation and liquidation. It's not no fly-by-night. We appoint no friends like they would have done. And we fought them hard and we got attacked over and over for that. But I stand here tonight and assure you, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, this government will recover every red cent that it can out of those billions for you, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. And we were criticized for doing it, and they brought race into play and all sorts of things into play. But as usual, we stood strong, we stood firm, and we stood assured, because we're doing things for the right reason. We're doing things for Trinidad and Tobago, and that's what a patriot is about. and listen to those unpatriotic ones who are on the verge of treason on the other side as they attack what your government is doing. But stand assured, we are doing what is right for the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. And the CLF liquidation will continue, and it will be done properly. And they keep calling about the Buko land for the Sandals project. We assure you it was done by international valuators, and that is the report. 2 sets of valuation reports by international valuators, local valuators, who valued the land at that amount, and we followed every letter of the law in doing it properly, not like them. I heard him yesterday talk about MHTL, and we lost MHTL. That was under him and his government. It is them who lost MHTL by taking it to arbitration instead of sitting down and working it out with the other shareholders. The UNC government, cost this country the shares it had in MHTL. So do not listen to their lies and misinformation. Very quickly, recently you would have seen some shake-up going on at the Port Authority of Trinidad and Tobago. You've heard your Prime Minister, the first Prime Minister to go before a joint select committee of Parliament and subject himself to his peers in a Parliament without fear of any questions being asked. We went there with documentation. We have examined it forensically. Again, I heard them say, how could the Office of the Attorney General go in and examine? Listen. At the end of the day, all computers, phones, electronic items, servers, etc., owned by every state enterprise in Trinidad and Tobago, fall under the government of Trinidad and Tobago. And your government must protect you, the taxpayers. You don't need permission to take an employee's phone if an employee is engaging in corrupt behavior and do anything with it. At the Port Authority, we found evidence that the original owners of the Cabo Star had reached out to the management of the port before Bridgman became the owner. They wrote to the Port Authority management, and we have that in writing. It's been forensically examined, and we have it on the 25th of May, saying that they were prepared to offer the Cabo Star at a price much lower than what we got stick with now. Isn't it the responsibility of the management to take that to the board and say, look, the original owner is offering a boat at this level? If they had done that, you know how much we would have saved annually for the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago? $15 million. But you know what happened? The board wasn't told anything. The next thing we know, Bridgman on the scene. Bridgman has bought the boat, charging the government a price. They're rushing, they're pushing, they're pressuring us, the management of the port. And what happens? We, the citizens, get burdened with $15 million extra for the Cabo Star. Well, let me tell you all something. People is make noise, say they're going to court, they're going to sue, they're going to challenge, etc. Go ahead. Because I stand here today telling you, without fear of contradiction, the forensic evidence that we have of what went on there is beyond repute. So who gets suspended and who gets fired? Go to court. Go to court and let me bring that forensic evidence for the population of Trinidad and Tobago to show you the work that this government has done to protect you. The last one I want to talk to you all about tonight, just before I'm told to wrap up, is the same Point 14 highway extension. You all would have heard very recently some talk about the millions of dollars paid for land on the Point 14 extension. The Office of the Attorney General has begun an investigation into that. What we have found is mind-boggling. I'll just give you a little taste. One person for 5 acres of land. Now remember, all of the money paid by the state is our money. It is the civic-minded citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, it's the taxpayers, it's those who abide by the law, live by the law, and we will take the pressure. 5 acres of land. They say the land is $23.2 million. They then come up with a concept. This is all under the Kamla Prasad Bissessar government. They come up with a concept called disturbance, injurious, affection, etc. $49.8 million. So they say the land is 23.2. They're giving you, for disturbance and injurious affection, etc., 49.8. And then they're giving you interest too. So we end up paying $75 million for 5 acres of worthless land. You heard the Minister of Works and Transport say yesterday, we've given the instructions, not a red cent will be paid to them. Take us to court, we will fight you in court. Another, you'll allow me to use this word, another imps with 4 acres of land, worthless, useless land that he was using to store lumber on for burning at Hindu and Muslim funerals, right? 4 acres of land. They value it at $25 million. For disturbance, they give him $6.6 million. Give him interest at $10 million. $42 million for a piece of land that was being used to store timber. You know what we found out? And I don't want to say too much because I intend to go to court on this one. The person who was privately valuing the land for the person end up it was part of the public service also valuing it for the government and for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. That land did not have the right town and country accreditation. All of a sudden when check had a cut, something went on in town and country and they get a change of use. Well, people of Trinidad and Tobago, there are about 6 to 7 of them that we're currently investigating. And what we're finding is disgusting. But I think I've delivered my message to you tonight. And my message to you is rest assured, this government is working. It's working hard. It's working efficiently. I don't need to stand up and shout anywhere. I don't need to point fingers. And anything I have to say to protect you, the taxpayers of Trinidad and Tobago, I will say outside of Parliament without fear of contradiction. Citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, you have elected a government. Stand behind this government because the first time this type of work is being done by best in class from around the world, and we will pursue all of these red cents on your behalf, quietly, efficiently, meticulously, and in accordance with the law. And before I forget, let the contractors know I've also gone to the courts in New York and Miami, and I'm working there as well, out of the Office of the Attorney General. Allow me to end with no truer words than, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, and we shall prevail.